I am Nicole Kohietsky, the founder of Wigglebud Academy. Today, I will be taking you through a brief introduction of the Yerkes Dodson Law and how it affects your dog's learning. So, what is the Yerkes Dodson Law? From a sciencey perspective, it's a law that posits that arousal level, which is a component of temperament, affects problem solving in an inverted U shaped relationship. Optimal performance is reached at intermediate levels of arousal and impeded by high and low levels. There's a couple of other perspectives on this here. If you want to hit pause and have a look, please do so. But I'd like to keep moving and show you the graph. This graph was created by Dr. Kathy Murphy, a veterinary surgeon who also has a PhD in behavioral neuroscience. She started Barking Brains, which is a project that aims to share information about neuroscience with trainers, behaviorists, and interested dog owners. So let's have a look at this fun graph. She took the components of the Yerkes Dodson Law, which are arousal and performance, and plotted them here in a fun way to show you the relationship. Arousal is on the horizontal axis and plotted from low to high. Performance is on the vertical axis, plotted from weak to strong. So here we see the inverted U in action. At the very top is a dog in peak performance. That's when a dog is engaged, learning, and really optimized for effective and efficient results. This is the area that we like to work in as professional dog trainers. At the very bottom left of this graph, you see zone one, and that's a dog that's unmotivated to work. They're sleepy, they're calm, they're relaxed, and just generally unwilling to engage. Zone two is when we see engagement and focus come up. So your dog's getting interested, being more willing to work, engaging with the environment, and so on until we reach this kind of peak performance area. At the other side of the graph, we see zones three and four, which are zones of frustration, anxiety, distraction, all the way to being totally overwhelmed and shut down. Of course, we don't want to work there because, like, again, the dog's not learning. And our goal is to keep our dog in the peak performance zone so that we can get to our goals in the most efficient and effective way. Why do we care about the zones? Why are we even spending a few minutes learning about this law? From a professional dog training perspective, it's important that we use your time and money wisely. No one wants to spend a lot of time and money on a skill or problem and not make any headway. We don't want to do that either. We really want to make sure that our efforts are moving us collectively towards your goals. The dog benefits too. When we are in that peak performance zone, we are able to keep frustration low and reinforcement high. So learning's optimized and your dog's having a lot of fun doing it. So let's look at some signs of being in the zone. When your dog is just right, your dog will be engaged and focused. They'll take treats and they'll be able to be reinforced with those, play, or happy talk. They look very expectant. They want to keep going. And they seem happy. If the arousal level is too low, your dog may, you know, want to stop. They may start moving around or walk slowly. They may lay down and seem unengaged. On the too much side of the graph, we may see some distraction or frenetic behavior. The dog may get jumpy or mouthy, display signs of hyperarousal or anxiety. What we want to do is look at how do we adjust our dogs to bring them up to the peak performance zone if their arousal is too low. And here's some ways to do that. We can pep your pup up with some high pitched happy talk. We can initiate play with a favorite toy or play chase for a few minutes. We can even change locations or add some cheery music and do a little dance. Some interactive training that involves movement, like find it followed by touch, does bring the arousal level of dogs up and makes them more willing to engage. We also can upgrade treats. That's a great way to improve some motivation. And again, if the dog is too tired and we can't bring the arousal up to that peak zone, it's okay to work another time. We do really want to have both us and our dogs enjoy the work that we're doing together. So, what if you're working in that zone and you see some indicators of potentially too much arousal? What would that look like? Some common observations could be panting, mouthiness or humping, repetitive jumping up, maybe some air snapping. You might see some destructive looking behavior like grabbing the leash and trying to tear at it, or some rapid fire vocalization. Make it a hard mouth when you try to hand a treat. May see some penile crowning too. Some problematic arousal characteristics would be an inability to focus, non-responsiveness to cues that you're giving, maybe even tipping into aggression. You may see some impulsive behavior, and you may start to see some general anxiety signs. Some body language to look out for are dilated pupils, tension ridges around the face, some rapid movement, rapid changes in direction, some hackles being up, ears being forward, a spatulate tongue, or tense musculature. Now that we know some of the signs of hyperarousal, we can get proactive. We can manipulate variables of the stimulus gradient when we start to see one or more indicators of too much arousal. This can help protect your working session and keep your dog in the peak performance zone. You can manipulate how long you've been working together, the distance you are from different things that are stimulating to your dog, or the intensity. Just remember when the balance is right, your dog is engaged and focused and actively learning. Okay, so let's look at some practical options if we start seeing some too high arousal signs. Again, we'll consider the stimulus gradient and dial down duration, intensity, or distance. What this can look like is taking a break, moving to a less distracting environment, slowing down your rate of speech, softening the volume of your speech, slowing down your movement, doing a treat scatter to engage your dog's senses by snuffling on the grass or the ground, doing some calming touch, working on a slower paced skill like stay, lowering your treat value, or playing the nothing game. If you can't bring your dog's arousal down, it's okay to call it a day and save your time for another session when your dog is actually in the learning zone. Here are some take home ideas from this short presentation. There is an optimal level of arousal for peak performance and learning. That's where we want to work. Too little arousal, and our dogs don't feel like participating. Too much, and their performance suffers, and we may get some unwanted side effects. Let's always strive for being in that optimal level so our time is well used and our dogs are having a great time. Just remember that every dog's optimal arousal point varies and that it can vary from day to day. Your path to getting to that peak point may differ tomorrow from today, depending on what's been going on in your dog's environment. Have a look at your dog's body language for clues that your dog is engaged, learning, and having a great time. For more help or any questions, please reach out to us at wiggles@wigglebudacademy.com. We'd love to talk with you. If you're interested in learning more, here are a few references. Look them up. And there's plenty of information on the Yerkes Dodson Law out there. Just make sure you're getting your information from a reputable science based source, a professional or peer reviewed journal, or a textbook. Take care. Bye for now.